Hi, everyone, and welcome back to yet another cracking edition of The Matt Brown Show. This is the Secrets of Fail series where we're talking to CEOs and entrepreneurs all about their epic business blunders and everything they've learned in the process of making mistakes. And so with us in the hot seat today is the CEO and Chief Talent Specialist of a company called Another Source based out in Seattle. Marcie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt, for having me.
Yeah, very welcome. So look, let's get on with the elevator pitch. What are you guys up to at Elevator Source? Another Source, sorry, my bad.
Another Source is passionate about revolutionizing recruiting services, primarily for nonprofits and higher education industry. We revolutionize that, Matt, really by doing two things. One, we work in a time-based model of 30 days. So it's short enough to have a positive impact to the organization in the recruitment cycle, but long enough for us to work our magic. And the second thing that we do is we charge a fee structure that is based on what we can control, which is the front end of the recruitment process. We can't control if someone's going to accept an offer or you're going to be the best hiring manager that you said you were. So our fee structure is always less than 10% versus typically 20 to 30% with executive search.
That's really, really cool. So why nonprofits and higher education? Like, how did you land with that particular, customer segment?
Great question. And maybe my first piece of advice is recognize an opportunity when it comes your way. In 2009, we fell into higher education. We started working with a university, and it just took off. Our service model works for typically under-resourced organizations, which typically nonprofits don't have a strong recruiting infrastructure. Most of the time, hiring managers are tasked with that. And hiring managers are great at the interview and selection part of the recruitment process. They're not, or shouldn't be, in my belief, tasked with building an awesome candidate pool.
Very, very interesting. Well, congratulations on all your success. I love this idea of time-based recruiting. I think it's ridiculous that, when I hire someone through an agent, I must cough up 25% of the annual salary. It's nice to hear something different. And different always wins in my experience. So congrats.
Thanks.
Perfect. So let's get into the meat and the potatoes of this episode. What is your epic story of fail for our audience around the world today?
My epic failure was not preparing to become CEO in 2007. So quick story, our company was founded in 1991 by my mother, Jan Scott, and I came to work for Another Source in 2000. Not passionate about recruiting, passionate about the way we did business, and was learning the ropes. When Jan decided to retire, she gave me first opportunity to purchase the organization, and through some reflection and long conversations, decided that we wanted to move forward with purchasing that organization. So 2006 was spent creating a transaction valuation and investing a lot of time in my mom and I's relationship, making sure that we could get through that transaction and maintain the great relationship that we had. What I failed to do during that time, Matt, was prepare for my biggest role yet, which was to be CEO when that purchase and sale was over. And it was an epic failure. January 1st, I felt like I had a straitjacket on. It felt uncomfortable to me. I didn't know how to lead without others around. I lost key employees. I pissed people off. I tried to do it myself. I was thinking as I was preparing for this conversation, that fight or flight mode. And I think I had neither of those, but rather I had this wiring of, I played singles tennis growing up and through college. And so it was always me out on the court by myself. And when there was a problem or a challenge, it was up to me. And so January 1st, 2007 came around, and it was going to be just me. I went into this natural wiring that I had of, here comes Marcie, like a bull in the china shop, trying to learn how to be a CEO. And the consequences of that were I lost several key employees. I mentioned I pissed people off. I missed opportunities. And I was miserable. Here, my mom and I's relationship was intact, but I had done nothing to prepare to lead this organization into the next phase. And so 2007 was really rough. It was a lot of getting knocked down and trying to get back up and then getting knocked back down, and being humbled in ways that I never expected.
That's crazy. That's nuts. So what did that whole experience teach you, Marcie? Like when you think back at, on that time, like I believe, to premise the question, like life is always happening for you, right? You know what I'm saying? And you have to be able to see that and go, okay, this sucks now and I'm failing now, whatever. But what did you learn from that? Like what did you take forward with you into your business?
Yeah, I would say that in summary, and I'll build off of it a little bit, is teamwork makes the dream work. That's our slogan here at Another Source. And I think I had to go through that process, as awful as it was, to really learn that I can go farther with a team than I can by myself. It may be faster, but it certainly isn't easier, and I won't have the same success. And I also think that I needed to be humbled and learn to build other strengths. I think, up until then in my career, those strengths had worked really well for me. But to be an effective leader and the leader that I wanted to be, I had to develop an entire new skill set. And until I was knocked down enough to be able to make room for that, I don't think it could have happened.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think the one last thing I would add to that too is I learned that looking forward as much as in the current is equally as important. And on infrastructure, on people, on leadership, not just go-to-market strategy, not just clients, not just product.
Understood. So if you could get into the Matt Brown Show time machine, Marcie, and kind of do things differently, what would you do differently and why?
I think there's a couple of things. I think having the experience that I do and the insight now, I would have, first of all, I would have surrounded myself with people that could teach me, that are smarter than me, that had been through a similar experience, and leadership as well that I respected and admired. I would have surrounded myself with those individuals. I would have looked forward. I would have hired we hired a therapist to help my mom and I get through this transaction. I would have hired someone similar to help me learn how to be a leader. I would have hired a coach. I would have involved my team. I would have asked my team what they needed during this transition and what they need going forward. It was very introspective, and I needed to change that. I would have gone and looked externally. And then I think the other thing that I would have done is really, as I've learned to reflect and really spend time thinking through things, I would have probably done a gap analysis on myself. Where was I prepared? Where was I weak? Where did I need to build? Where could we hire people that were smarter than me to build out those strengths?
So, and where are you guys now? I mean, have you come a long way still in business? So that's obviously something good has come of this. So where are you guys now? Just close that story for me.
Yeah, I think I first of all, I don't feel like I have a straitjacket on anymore as a leader. But I think that, there was initial stage 2 of a leader that was working in the business. And I had to get also comfortable on the journey of working on the business instead of in the business. So fast forward to where we're at now, I would say a good 90% of my time is spent working on the business instead of in the business. And I think I'm the first person to raise my hand and say the best thing I can do for the company is work on with my people.
Amazing. So, Marcie, what's your advice to other CEOs and entrepreneurs out there today, listening or watching us right now, about the importance of failure or failing, in business success?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing, like you said earlier, it teaches us something, and we gotta have our eyes and our ears and our hearts open to learning what is it trying to teach us, and be open to it, because it is happening for a reason. And I'm a big believer, when your back's up against the wall or when you're down, you see things from a different perspective, and that perspective is a gift. The other advice is put your people first. Know them, make it easy for them to know how they're successful, know what their gifts are. Invest in that people infrastructure as much as you're investing in your go-to-market strategy, because you can't be successful without the other.
I love that idea. People infrastructure. That's so cool. It's just people or HR, you know what I mean? Or people structure is pretty cool, because you have cloud infrastructures, all these other things. People infrastructure is pretty cool. So tell me, when you think about like books and tools and resources that, you may have consumed during this transformative period and beyond, what books, tools, resources do you recommend to other CEOs today?
Yeah, I think there's two that come to mind. Good to great. I know we've heard that before, but I even just last week was referencing activities around the 5 dysfunctions of the team, and really looking through that. So 5 dysfunctions of team, good to great. And then the most recent one that I've read that I really liked, that I've actually been able to use with a lot of the team, is Atomic Habits.
Yeah, James Clear.
Yeah.
The man, the legend. What is there something that you learned from that? Like when you think about that book, what comes to mind for you?
Yeah, I think that the one thing that I have used over and over, and also with the team, is habit stacking. Is the one kind of thing that I took in my tool belt that I constantly am referencing, especially as we're developing team members. That I think it's something easy and it makes sense to people.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, Marcie, thank you so much for being vulnerable and, for having the courage to share your epic story of failure. I guess we all don't know what we don't know until we put into a situation where it's like, hang on, you don't know this stuff.
Right.
And so thank you for sharing that. It definitely will, make a difference. So thanks for being on the hot seat, and wishing you and the rest of the team all the very best for the future.
Thanks, Matt.
Anytime. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you again soon.